Tonight, I have 3 stories for you. The first one is about a woman who realized her upstairs neighbor had been dropping a thin wire through a hole in her ceiling to watch her sleep. She only found out because of what the wire accidentally knocked over at 3 in the morning. The second is about a man who worked a night shift alone in a warehouse and discovered that someone had been living in the building for months without anyone knowing. He found out because of a smell coming from a section of the warehouse that was supposed to be empty. The third one is the one that will stay with you. A teenage girl home alone who called 911 when she heard someone in the house, and the dispatcher told her the call was already coming from inside. All 3 of these are real. Lights off, headphones on. Let's begin.
This is Mr. Fadoo Horror. Every story on this channel is a true account from someone who lived through something they were never supposed to survive. Subscribe right now if you are not already, and hit the like button. It takes 1 second, and it tells YouTube to put these stories in front of more people who need to hear them. Story 1, starting now.
Melissa was 26 years old, living alone in a ground-floor apartment in Portland, Oregon. She'd moved in 8 months earlier. The building was older, 2 floors, 4 units. Her upstairs neighbor, a man in his late 40s named Gary, had lived there for 3 years. Quiet, polite, the kind of neighbor you forget exists. For the first 6 months, nothing happened that she could point to. But in the 7th month, she started sleeping badly, waking up at odd hours, feeling like she was being watched. She told her sister it was probably just anxiety, adjusting to living alone. She ignored it. In month 8, on a Thursday night in February, she was asleep by 11. She woke at 3:20 in the morning to a sound she could not immediately identify. A faint, delicate clinking, like a small piece of glass had been knocked against something hard. She lay still in the dark and listened. The sound had come from above her, from the direction of the ceiling light fixture directly above her bed. She turned on her bedside lamp and looked up. The glass shade on the ceiling fixture was swinging very slightly, the way it swings when disturbed by something rather than by air movement. She stared at it for a long moment, and then she saw it. Hanging from the center of the fixture, barely visible against the white ceiling, a thin black wire, no thicker than a charging cable, dropping straight down through a hole that had been drilled into the ceiling directly above her pillow. She did not scream. She said later that she was too frightened to scream. She grabbed her phone and her keys and walked out of her apartment without looking away from that wire. She called 911 from the parking lot.
Police arrived and went directly to the unit above, apartment 2B, Gary's apartment. He answered the door in street clothes at 3:30 in the morning. He told officers he had been awake, couldn't sleep. In his bedroom closet, directly above Melissa's bedroom, officers found a gap in the floor where a hole had been drilled. Through. The hole was clean and precise, not a maintenance issue, not an accident, a deliberate, carefully made aperture. Threaded through the hole was the other end of the wire. Attached to the wire, a small, wide-angle pinhole camera, the kind sold online for under $40, battery-powered, recording to a micro SD card that was fitted into a slot on Gary's side. The SD card contained 112 hours of footage, all of it recorded inside Melissa's bedroom. Gary was arrested that night. He was charged with video voyeurism, a felony in Oregon. He was convicted and sentenced to 18 months. When Melissa was told the camera had been there for an estimated 3 months, she said she felt the floor go out from under her. 3 months of sleeping beneath something that watched her. 3 months of waking up feeling observed and dismissing it as anxiety. She was not anxious. She was right.
What Melissa's case tells you is this. If you live in an apartment building and you ever wake up feeling watched for no reason you can explain, do not dismiss it. Your nervous system is not malfunctioning. Check every ceiling fixture in your bedroom and bathroom. Check corners. Check smoke detectors. A pinhole camera is smaller than a shirt button and can be completely invisible at a glance. Melissa's only mistake was trusting her ceiling. Trust nothing you have not personally inspected. Story 2 is next, and it is worse.
Marcus was 31 years old and worked the overnight security shift at a large commercial warehouse outside of Memphis, Tennessee. The building was a storage and distribution facility, roughly the size of 2 football fields, industrial shelving, loading docks, a small supervisor's office near the main entrance. He had worked the shift for 2 years, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., alone most nights. He did rounds every 2 hours, checked the doors, logged everything in a binder. Routine. In his 3rd year, something changed. It started with a smell. He noticed it first in the northeast corner of the warehouse, a section used for overflow storage of returned goods that had not been processed. Nobody went back there often. The smell was faint at first, something organic, like food or something close to food. He mentioned it in the shift log, assumed a rodent problem. Maintenance was called. They found nothing. The smell persisted. 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday night at around 2 in the morning, Marcus was doing his round and stopped in the northeast corner to investigate again. He walked deeper into the overflow section than he normally went. The shelves back there were packed floor to ceiling with returned boxes and unsorted pallets, a maze of cardboard and shrink wrap. He smelled it stronger now, and something else, something warm, like body heat in a confined space. He stopped walking. He stood in the dark between 2 tall rows of shelving and listened. He heard breathing, not his own. He backed out slowly, walked to the supervisor's office, locked the door, and called the police. He did not go back into that section. Officers arrived 20 minutes later with a canine unit. What they found in the northeast corner, behind a false wall constructed from stacked pallets and cardboard arranged to look like a normal storage section from the outside, was a living space, a sleeping area, a rolled foam mattress, blankets, a battery-powered lantern, a bag of food, a cable that had been carefully run along the baseboard to the nearest wall outlet 40 feet away. Someone had been living in that warehouse for an estimated 4 to 6 months. The person was not there when police searched, but they had been there recently. The lantern battery was still warm. The food was fresh. They were never identified. They were never found. Marcus resigned from that job the following week. He told investigators that what disturbed him most was not the discovery itself. It was the realization that for months, while he did his rounds every 2 hours and logged everything and believed the building was empty, someone had been lying 6 feet away in the dark, perfectly still, listening to him walk past every single night.
What Marcus's case tells you is something investigators call squatting concealment, the practice of occupying a space so carefully that trained security personnel conducting regular patrols never detect the presence. It requires patience, planning, and a detailed understanding of the security routine. Whoever was living in that warehouse knew exactly when Marcus did his rounds. They knew how deep into the overflow section he went. They had mapped his habits with enough precision to remain completely undetected for up to 6 months. They were not hiding from Marcus randomly. They had studied him. And they left before police arrived, which means they also had a way of knowing when to move. That case remains open. Story 3 is the last one tonight. It is the shortest, and it is the one you will not be able to stop thinking about.
In September 2019, a 16-year-old girl named Addie was home alone in a house in rural Kentucky while her parents were at a dinner 2 towns over. She was expected to be alone for approximately 4 hours. At 9:47 in the evening, she heard a sound downstairs. She was in her bedroom on the 2nd floor. The sound was below her, in the direction of the kitchen, a single, dull thud, the kind of sound a cabinet makes when it is opened and closed. She assumed it was the family dog. She went back to her phone. 4 minutes later, she heard it again. This time, it was different. Not a single sound, movement, slow, deliberate movement across the kitchen floor. The dog was in the room with her. She called 911. The dispatcher answered on the 2nd ring. She told the dispatcher her name, her address, and that she was home alone and believed someone was inside her house. The dispatcher asked her to stay on the line. She could hear the dispatcher typing. Then the dispatcher went quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I need you to listen to me very carefully. I need you to leave the house right now. Use the nearest exit and do not stop moving." Addie asked why. The dispatcher said, "Because when I pulled up your address, there is already an active 911 call coming from inside your home, from a different phone. That call has been active for 11 minutes. Someone inside the house had called 911 before Addie did. Nobody knows why." Addie ran. She made it out through the back door and hid in the tree line behind her property until police arrived 6 minutes later. Officers swept the house, every room, every closet, every space large enough to hold a person. They found no one inside. But the back door, which Addie's family kept locked at all times, was unlocked when officers checked it. The active 911 call that had been coming from inside the house was traced to a prepaid phone. The phone was never recovered. No arrest was ever made. To this day, no one has explained who made that first call or why, or what they were doing inside that house for 11 minutes before Addie even knew they were there.
There are several explanations investigators explored. The most common theory is that whoever was inside the house called 911 accidentally, a pocket dial, a distress signal, a cry for help from someone who should not have been there. The second theory is deliberate, that the call was made to create exactly the response it created, to flush Addie out of the house, to get her moving, to expose her position. If that is the case, then the plan failed, because the dispatcher's training saved her. The third theory, and this is the one that investigators have never been able to rule out, is that someone else was also inside that house against their will, someone who knew they could not speak, someone who made that call as a signal. None of these theories have been confirmed. The case is classified as an unresolved criminal trespass. Addie no longer lives in Kentucky. She has never returned to that house. When asked in an interview what she thinks about most when she thinks about that night, she said, "I think about those 11 minutes, what was happening in my house for 11 minutes before I called, what they were doing, what they were looking for, and whether they found it."
3 stories, all real, all unresolved in ways that will not leave you. A wire through a ceiling above a pillow. A person living in the dark 6 feet from a security guard every single night. A 911 call already active from inside a house before the girl who lived there even knew anyone was there. These are not rare. These are documented. They happen in quiet cities and quiet buildings and quiet houses where the people inside believed they were safe. Hit the like button right now, not when the video ends, now. It tells YouTube to put this in front of every person who goes to bed tonight believing their space is safe.
Subscribe to Mr. Fadoo Horror if you are not already. Every week, new stories, real accounts, the kind that stay with you. Drop a comment below. Which of the 3 stories tonight got to you the most? The Wire, The Tenant, or The Call? Tell me. I read every single reply. I have another compilation right here. 3 more stories, including one about a woman who discovered her new house had a room that was not on any floor plan and what was inside it. Watch that next. I will see you there.